Welcome back, everybody, to Beer Brackets and to another very exciting review. We've already done Chimay Blue, and now we're moving on in the Trappist world to probably Chimay Blue. We said was one of the most popular Trappist beers you could find. This is one of the Chimay Brewery's the original beer. That's why it's called the Premiere, the Chimay Red.
Chimay Red is unquestionably Chimay's flagship beer, because it was the first of 3 beers to be brewed in the Abbey in 1862. Chimay Red is copper-coloured with gentle apricot flavours, hints of chocolate and a deliciously refreshing bitterness. It should be savoured at cellar temperature.
The Chimay Blue was a Trappist quad. This is more of a Trappist double. Alessandro and I both gave the Chimay Blue really, really high scores. It wasn't quite a perfect beer. Will the Chimay Red be a perfect beer? Alessandro, how you doing? Are you expecting this to be a perfect beer?
I'm doing great, my friend. I'm excited for today's review. Like you said, we had like a pretty high rating there on the Blue. I don't know what to expect about this. I haven't had it in quite a while, I have to say, so
Same.
It's going to be interesting. What I do know, though, is that this is another wizard.
It is another wizard beer. The wizards, the Trappist monk wizards, who have been known to produce some of the finest ales known to mankind, have done it again with one of the originals, the Chimay Red. So we'll see how it does. Will it get the extremely coveted beer bracket perfect beer rating? We will find out. Guys, we're not going to go too deep on the Chimay Brewery itself because we've already covered that in the Chimay Grande Reserve episode. If you haven't seen that, we'll put a link in the description down below. We also did a full video on what are Trappist beers that you can check out as well. We'll link to that down below. So we're pretty much just going to get right into this one, and we're going to see what we think and how the Trappist wizards have done with the Chimay Red.
Yes, let's get into it. Let's pour it out and let's see what we think.
So Alessandro has got the smaller stubby bottle, and I've got the 750 milliliter corked bottle, which I love. Popping a cork is always fun.
It is. It has more of a, authentic vibe. It's more like a ceremony. I was a little sorry that I couldn't find the actual 750 bottle, but still, it's the same delicious beer.
The smokiness just coming out of the bottle on this one.
Ooh, it's interesting.
It's got such a delicious bready smell coming out of the bottle right away, like those fumes that are emanating from the bottle. It's like you just stuck your nose into a French bakery and you can smell the freshly baked croissants on the windowsills. It's delicious. Shall we pour it out?
Please, my friend.
Pour about 1/3 of the way up your tasting glass to give yourself some room. If you have a big nose like I do, give yourself some room to stick it on in there and get all those delicious aromas. For these kinds of beers, the doubles, the triples, I love to just pour them straight out like you see Alessandro did as well. Get that big. Don't be afraid of the head. Don't fight it. Don't fight the head. Let the head just be what it is. Let the beer live and be alive. Aroma cheers.
Aroma cheers.
Let me know what you think.
Just to get some carbonation. Oh, wow.
What do you think? I like just right off the bat that lighter brown color as compared to the blue. You can really tell it's a nice double as opposed to the quad.
Well, like you said, when you first open the bottle, you really do get that like bready aromas that are coming through. It's like really being in a bakery is a great descriptor. I do get that like light yeasty component, but it's very subtle and it's on the edge. It's interesting. Like I say I like it. But it's almost like it's, again, like when we did the other Chimay, it's missing a little bit of that, like, strong element that is predominant. So it's very light in a sense, which I like, but not enough to give it a 3. So I think I'm going to stick with a 2 on the nose, because it's pleasant, it's there, it's inviting, but it's not enough to push it up to a 3.
Interesting. So already the perfect beer streak is broken with the first rating.
Sorry, Wizards.
The Wizards, I don't think will be too happy with us on this one. We're not giving them a chance. It's over right away. I can feel a little bit the disappointment from the Trappist Wizards.
I kind of, now that you mention it, like my shoulders, like it feels like I have a whole weight on my shoulders. Like, yeah, I know, but I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it. I'm sorry.
We kind of do. It's a big deal what we're doing here. It's very official. So we do have a lot of weight on our shoulders. Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. It does smell like I mentioned, kind of when I pop the bottle, you do get that whiff of freshly baked bread. And it is really like being in a bakery. It's fantastic. It's really delicious. I agree with you in the sense that there is something missing. I would like a little something more. It really just smells like liquid bread, which again, sounds delicious to a lot of people. It's definitely delicious to a carb addict like me. It's very nice, but it lacks a little bit of complexity, which is a good thing because it makes it really easy drinking, which is what the Chimay beers are known for, right? For their alcohol percentage, which this one, I believe the Chimay Red is what, it's 7? Or is it 7.5?
I want to say 7, yes.
7 on the dot. There you go. So for a 7% beer, it's known for being very palatable, very easy to drink. It's going to be a 2 for me as well. 2 on 3 for the aroma. There's just something missing, a little bit of complexity missing there. My friend, this is our favorite part. Let's get right into it. I'm going to give it a little bit of a refresher just to activate the carbonation a bit before we go in for the taste. Cheers, good sir. Let me know what you think.
Cheers.
Let's take a taste.
To you, my friend. My favorite part.
It's the best part.
I have to say, the Wizards really know what they're doing.
They do.
Trying to break down really the taste elements. You get the sweetness up front, like it's there. It's clear and present. Toasted character that comes across to me is a little bit of a savoriness. There is a little bit of minerality that almost comes across as salty to me. Probably coming from the water that they're using, that we know it's within the monastery, so that's very unique. The hoppiness is there, but I would say that it's almost masked by the sweetness. So
it is.
That balance goes back and forth. I would say compared to other doubles that I've had, it doesn't push it quite up enough to be up in the 3. So just for me personally, again, I'm sticking to a 2. Sorry, Wizards.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. You do. The minerality, that was a great word that you used. A first for the Beer Brackets channel. We've never referred to minerality before. Or like a slight saltiness, which there definitely is. And I wonder if that comes from the water. And if any of you saw our Chimay Blue episode, we talked about how the Chimay Brewery actually used natural spring water straight from the land that the abbey's built on. So all the beers that you drink are brewed using that water, which is part of what makes it so unique. Maybe that does come from it. And you definitely taste that minerality, like you said, a little bit of saltiness. There's definitely a sweetness there, like a toffee, like a little bit of caramel, maybe like a little bit of sort of like brown sugar, molasses slightly, all in that taste range. You know what I would love to have? I would love to have a little bit more bitterness. I would love to have a little bit more hop forward taste that came through to balance that all out. It is fantastic. It's a beautiful beer. It's so well brewed. Everything is so smooth. Nothing is too overpowering. Nothing really stands out. But there's a little bit of complexity missing there for me to really bump it up to a 3. So it's a 2 on 3 for me as well, my friend. I agree with you on that one. So we're pretty consistent all the way through for now. But now we go into mouthfeel. And you know what they say about mouthfeel? You got to freshen up your beer before you do the mouthfeel.
There we go. Mouthfeel, I have to say, for a beer that is 7%, this is incredibly light. The carbonation really does a job. Like it's just like keeps the whole experience extremely refreshing. Because of this high sweetness, leaves this silky, almost like oily on your tongue. Which is pleasant. But again, like I find that there's not much in between. Like it's that burst at the beginning that then translate into this like oily feeling on silky. Let's call it silky, but it's leaning a little bit towards the oily, sticky. So again, for that same reason, like not because there's it's bad. It's just like I feel like to push it to a 3, there's something missing. So I'm gonna again stick with the 2 with the mouthfeel.
There's the perfect amount of carbonation for this type of beer. I got to be upfront with something. I think I'm not a big fan of doubles, of Trappist doubles, in the sense that I do like them. I find them enjoyable, but I don't love them. Another comparison would be the Pater 6 from St. Bernardus. When we did our tasting flight episode, which I'll put a link to that one down below if anybody hasn't seen it, go check it out. I wasn't too impressed with the Pater 6 either, in the sense that it was obviously a very masterfully brewed beer. It was smooth, it went down really, really well. It was a very impressive beer. But for my own taste, I felt it was very lacking. It was just missing a little bit of body to it. And I feel the same way about this one. The carbonation, it's very fizzy. After that, there's a little bit of that sticky oiliness that you mentioned that coats your tongue a little bit, but there's nothing else. There's no acidity necessarily, which is positive because it makes it extremely easy to drink.
Oh yeah.
Extremely easy to drink.
Oh yeah.
So that's a positive. But if you're breaking it down just element by element, what do you think about it? For mouthfeel, there's not too much there. I'm actually going to give it a 1 on 3. And that's not necessarily a big slight or a big negative, just that by design, there's not a lot there. The Wizards might not be too happy with us on that one, but my friend, what do you think about the finish?
Let's get into it, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers.
It has like that initial sweetness that lingers for quite a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
And if you wait long enough, it starts showing roasted character elements and also dark fruit like prunes. And then you do get a little bit of that element of bitterness, but it's very subtle and gentle. And I think that if it had a little bit more of that, for me, it would make it a little bit more interesting. And it's there, it's for sure there, because with beer that is this malty and sweet, you need to have it. But the problem is that the sweetness, for me, it's covering it up a little bit too much. I'm a little torn here, but I think I'm gonna stick with the 2 again, because it's so masterfully made. You do have all the elements, they're right in the right place, and they're extremely enjoyable. But it's not enough to push it up to a 3 for my personal opinion.
Yeah, you know what you said, like if you wait long enough, you taste like that toasted malt, that toasted bread. Aftertaste that sticks around. It's true, it takes about 4 or 5 seconds and the aftertaste morphs. It's very interesting. It starts off right away and you get that, almost like I said on the taste, you get that toffee, caramel, kind of brown sugar taste. It's very sweet in that sense, like a dark brown sweet. And if you let it sit a little bit, it gets a little bit toasty. The sweetness is very overpowering, not in the sense that it makes it unpleasant. It's overpowering everything else. I'm not a really, really big fan of sweetness in my beer. So as a personal taste, I am going to agree with you on the 2. It's not quite a 3. I was thinking about maybe a 1 just because to my personal taste, it's not quite there, but it's so well done. It's so well done that even somebody who doesn't like those kind of sweet tastes or, those sweet elements on a finish, I really enjoy it. My friends, an overall experience, what do you think?
Well, I went pretty much consistent across, so I'm gonna stay consistent and give it a 2. Sorry, Wizards. But let me add this, that coming from, I think from both of us, because we tend to like quads as a style a little bit more, coming from that realm, I feel like approaching these kind of beers, they're always going to come a little short from a personal point of view because of all the more elements that you tend to find. But again, let's not forget, the 2, it's just like a different degree of good. That's just wanted to add that to not upset the Wizards too much.
Yeah, you know what? If you follow the channel, you know what Alessandro and I's personal preferences are. And we do have very similar personal preferences with slight differences there. So, we really love the bitterness of a good Pilsner lager. We really love the toasted malt element of a good Pilsner lager. We really love the dark roasted flavors of a good quad or of a good heavy stout. Those are all families of characteristics that we really, really enjoy, and you can mix and match that in so many other different styles however you wish, to find beers that we really, really love. So the sweetness, I think you and I agree a little bit. It's not our favorite, but this does it so well. This could easily be a 3 on 3 for other people, and I do know people who really, really love these styles of doubles or like honey brown ales. They really, really appreciate those types of beers with that sweetness, like that honey, toffee, caramel, brown sugar kind of taste and aftertaste and finish that we mentioned. There are people that really, really appreciate that. For me, it's a 2 on 3 experience as well. On this one, we were pretty consistent. Man, all the way through. I mean, I gave it 1-1. You were 2s all the way through.
It's I think, like you said, like it's so masterfully crafted that it's really difficult to not give it like a high rating, because even if you don't like certain elements, the whole overall picture, please try this beer, because especially if you enjoy sweetness elements, like this is going to be right up your alley.
Taste along with us. So calculating our final scores and comparing the Chimay Red to the Chimay Blue, which is really interesting because they're both extremely popular beers, but don't confuse the two. And hopefully these reviews are useful for people who might be curious about Chimay if you haven't tried them before, or if you have tried them before and you weren't really sure on why you might have preferred one over the other or what elements you liked from one. So this one came out to, for me, scored a little bit lower than Alessandro. I gave it that 1-1 on 3. It comes out to a solid 3 on 5, which in our system is a good beer. And it is. This is an extremely good beer. For Alessandro, scored a little bit higher, 3.33 on 5, which bumps it up to a great beer in our rating system. And funny enough, if you go back and watch our Chimay Blue review, we each scored it exactly 1 point on 5 higher than we did this one. So for me, it was a 4 on 5. And for Alessandro, it was a 4.33 on 5. So it's kind of a good demonstration, Alessandro, what we talked about, where for personal preference, we actually just prefer the quads.
And I just wanted to point out that we don't review, the previous scores before doing the episode. So we always try to walk into the episode and be as honest as possible. So we just looked it up right before telling you guys the scores, and we both were shocked, oh yeah, it means we're consistent in what we're doing, what we like.
I know. Yeah. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. You can find the Chimay beers at most liquor stores that'll have some imported beers, especially if they carry some Trappist beers. You'll definitely find at least one of the Chimay beers. Down the line, we are going to be moving on to their triple, the Chimay White, that will be coming down the line. So we'll see which one of the Chimay family we enjoy the most. Maybe we'll even be able to get our hands on some Chimay cheeses to pair along with the beer as we drink it. Who knows? We'll do our best and try. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let us know down below, what do you think about the Chimay Red? Do you prefer the blue? Let us know what you think. My friend, it's always a pleasure.
Likewise. And guys, regardless of what you're drinking, don't forget to close your beer brackets.
Don't forget, open and close your Trappist beer brackets in style. Maybe open with a blue, have the white in between, close with a red, or vice versa.